My name is Monica Gleiberman, and you're listening to Silence on Set podcast. On today's podcast, we're speaking to J.R. Ramirez from Netflix's hit Manifest about Season 4, Part 2. There are major spoilers ahead, so if you have not watched the show or you have not finished, please go do that first and then come back and listen to us because we're going to get into great detail about the finale, specifically those epic final few minutes. So please make sure you watch the show first, come back, and then come listen to this podcast. But this takes place for part 2, which is the aftermath of Angelina's unleashing of a devastating volcanic eruption where the passengers face severe scrutiny in a world fueled by 828 haters, which brings together a mysterious accident that delivers ominous warnings on a biblical scale that will further jeopardize the livelihood of all of the passengers. As Michaela grieves with the loss of her beloved husband Zeke, she must team up with her old flame Jared to find new methods to investigate the callings. So, to talk about what it was like filming those final 10 episodes and again, that epic series finale, here is J.R. Ramirez. I am so excited, as I said before, to have you on here. I have the J.R. Ramirez here. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm so good. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Well, I have to start off just first off out the gate. How are you feeling? Because I know that this was obviously, we kind of talked about this a little bit before I hit record. This was filmed a while ago. There's
Yeah.
been a break. You guys are reuniting at ATX, and then you guys are probably reuniting, I would think, a little bit maybe here and there for some press stuff. But what does it feel like to know, like, it's done? It's about to be in the world in a couple days, and you're just, I mean, I just can't imagine what that must feel like to just finish a show like that.
You know what? Honestly, it's been pretty insane. It's been such a roller coaster between being on NBC and then getting over being canceled and then, waiting for a little bit, looking at different opportunities for different jobs and going to Netflix, being able to finish the story and then, not seeing it, yeah, we did finish about like 5, 6 months ago. So it's been a while. And then we got the whole strike thing happening. It's a funky time, but I mean, it's first and foremost, I just want to say we wouldn't be here. There would be no Jared. There would be no Manifest if it wasn't for our incredible, selfless, collaborative, talented writers that we have. They are the backbone of what we do. We breathe life into their words. I'm producing now and I have some stuff in the pipeline right now and I try to write. I'm like, I should probably stay in my lane. This is not, it's so difficult. So they're just, I just want to say I support them 1,000%. It's a really tricky time right now with everything, but they are so behind us to go and promote this incredible, beautiful journey of what we've done, and how it's resonated with people. I've been blessed enough to go. Mel and I were just in Bahamas. We've been traveling a lot, and everywhere we go, it's really mind-boggling. It's a crazy thing how people have taken the show and just put it in their hearts. And everywhere we go, every color, every age, it doesn't matter. Like, it's just unbelievable. I was on a show before that was very like Latino African American called Power for a while. So like an African American or Latino comes up to me and they're like, yo, and I'm like, Power. They're like, what? No, Manifest. I'm like, really? You watching Manifest? And it's just like it still catches me off guard, from like athletes to like people, everyone. Doesn't matter. So it's like kudos to our incredible showrunner Jeff, Mr. Rake, and all of our writers. And yeah, it's just been such a cool journey, that came to an end. And I mean, we've got lifelong friends from it. So I can't wait to kind of see everybody in a couple of days. So yeah.
I know, and I'm so sad that it's ending, but so I've had the pleasure of seeing it ahead of time, which is like a blessing and a curse because it's kind of like what you guys must go through where you can't say anything. So I watched it and I was like,
It's been tricky.
It's been tricky. To talk to.
I know. I told my team, I was like, can I get some talking points? They're like, just stick your mouth. You always stick your foot in your mouth anyway. So now you're free. Now you can do it. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll just be me then. So
no, it's so difficult. But so last time we saw, well, I'll just go over like the general basis of where we are. So in part 4, For season 4, we had 2 parts. So we had part 1, which was 10 episodes, and part 2, which is coming out, which are the final 10 episodes.
Yeah,
So
that's
we're
it.
at like the height of the mythology, kind of the dead date, like where are we going, what's going to happen to these people, what happened on the plane, and we're kind of reaching ahead at this point. So where, if you I'm going to joke, if you remembered, where do we find Jared before we start part 2?
Okay, yeah, the second part of this run, Jared is, I mean, these last 10, I feel it's funny because I feel like Jared is always, he's always they just finally introduced his family, which was one of my favorite things. And in the first run of the first 10 of part 4, we got to see his family, we got to see his culture. When I found out that that was happening, it was literally, I've got to say, it's the most rewarding thing I was able to do throughout the entire seasons of the show, just to bring a little spice, a little Latin Cuban spice, and they were able to make him Cuban, which was so cool. So you get to see a little bit of that. But as for his love life, which you start to really kind of get into, it's always been complex, to say the least. And these last 10, you really get to see. I think the fans are finally going to get the answers they've been looking for so long. Now that good old Mr. Matt Long is gone, love you, buddy. Yeah, it's his relationship status has always been very, very complicated. I like to always say that he needs to take a vacation by himself and take some time to think, because he has a hard time being alone. We've seen Jared with quite a few women through the beginning of the show. Yeah, no, it really comes to a crescendo at the end. Yeah, he's an intricate part. These next 10, he's a huge intricate part to helping these passengers find out the answer everyone wants. What happened to these people. He's a it's tough because I can't really remember how it started. How the second 10 started, to be honest with you. But I do know that they had him running around and trying to help, the Stones, which is what he does. He lives for this family. He has a huge heart. He's misunderstood at times. He's complex, but at the end of the day, I feel like he does everything he can do for Ben, Michaela, for the whole family, and he's very much an intricate part to helping them, find the answers that they're searching for. So
yeah, and it seems like when Zeke is sort of out of the picture, because we see him, which I was super excited about, to see Matt Long kind of appear, but
right,
he's like visions or wherever he is kind of thing, and appear to her. She, Michaela has to get over a little bit of grief, but she then runs into JR. And you guys are gonna, the fans, like when they hear this afterwards, you guys kind of gut them a little bit, because there's a tease of the two of you together, and the two of you go together, are together for a couple of months until we reach kind of the finale and all of the things that happen there. But before we get there, what was it like kind of playing? I don't know if you were getting scripts ahead of time or not, or to know, but like, was it
a little
fun?
bit,
Was it
yeah, brief.
yeah, like, was it fun knowing that, like, we're gonna we're gonna kind of torture them a little bit, because everyone's gonna think you guys are ending together, which is not what happens. So I'm
Everybody.
expecting Twitter to like freak out.
They're gonna go crazy. Yeah, since Matt, since Zeke went out of the picture, everybody's just like, oh, of course they're gonna end up together, of course. And there's so many people. There's always been this really cool kind of thing between Zeke and Mick fans and Jared and Mick fans. There's been it's become a very big part of what Manifest is, which is really cool to see. Because obviously it's about this plane and this mythology aspect and all that. But the relationship aspect between these characters have been done. I think there's so much complexities to them that fans have just really like jumped on either ship, or they're very outspoken. We have very outspoken fans that love our show, which is awesome. But yeah, I think they're expecting something, and they're in for a surprise. Yeah, the whole element, I was surprised because I didn't know. I had no idea about Dre's pregnancy. I had no idea that they were going to go that way at the end. I thought honestly after this whole all the push and pull that they've had between Jared and Michaela, I'm like for sure they're going to end up together. Of course not. So
how did you take that, by the way? Because like as an actor, I would feel like, all right, after everything, all these years, of course they're gonna like, right? Like we're endgame,
yeah,
we're put us together, and then you find out. I mean, again, without talking about the finale yet, I think it makes sense for certain reasons. I'll tell you why. But like, were you like initially like, oh, I don't like this, or were
off
you
the jump, honestly, I was just like, what are they thinking? Like, what? People are gonna hate this. Like, what? And then it's funny because Ellen and I would be like, when we found out that like I mean, Jared's already been, he's very loved, but at the same time, he's very hated. Because he can make things about himself a lot sometimes, for sure. And I can see how fans go, Matt's proud because Matt's just like Zeke is such he's all horror, you know what I mean? Um, yeah, I remember Ella and I being like, they are going to hate us. Like, how do we breathe life into this and make these people like, and just try to find as much truth as we can to these words, and give it a go. But yeah, off the beginning, I was like, what, really? My team was so mad. And then now looking back, and especially the way they ended it, I think they did a really good job of being able to like, I actually really enjoyed the finale, and I think most finales, and especially on a show like this, is so complex. It's tough to end. It's tough to wrap up. There's so many different theories and so many ways it could go. I honestly think I haven't watched it, but I remember doing it, and I remember leaving there being like, I mean, we were all emotional basket cases that last week. It was really hard to kind of let go of such an incredible job with these people. It was super emotional, but I remember being like, this is going to be special. Like, I feel like a lot of people are going to leave this, watching this whole thing and not feeling like most people did at the end of Game of Thrones, which was tough. I'm a huge fan of that show. That last season was tough for me. I had a hard time with it, but I don't feel like that's going to happen with the show. I think they did a really good job of kind of finding happy endings within the means of every character, and I actually really liked what they did because it shows. I just think Jared these last 20 really kind of changed his energy. He was lighter. He was more. It became more about like, thinking about the future and about family and what this whole thing, this whole ticking time bomb meant. Being like he wasn't on the plane, but do they, they have this looming thing where life can be over and what really matters. So I really like the fact of how they ended it. Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
I was concerned, but I do too, and I think the finale kind of saves it all because it wraps it all together, which makes it make sense. For
Yeah.
you, I've asked everybody this. So
Uh-oh.
when you no stress. When you got the job, right? And you
Yeah.
picture Jared in your brain, and you mold him and work on it for season 1 through to season 4 and that last episode. What has been the arc of him, and how has Jared changed over time?
That's a great question. My goodness. Um, I feel like I feel like Jared was, which I think is why people kind of either really liked him or didn't, or really resonated with him or not. I've even spoken to some cops that were like, dude, that's like there's so much truth to the angst of what you had or what you brought to the table. I think that he had a bit of a chip on his shoulders, for a while. Obviously, things weren't easy, the circumstances of what he was dealt with from the beginning of being like dealing with almost 6 years of missing someone and ending up with the best friend. Come on, Jared. That's already devastation to begin with. Like, what do you think people are gonna, not a lot of women are gonna have your back on that one, So like having to like, and then at the same time seeing the transition of having to work with this person who now out of nowhere has come back, and it's just there will never be anyone that will replace what this woman means to him, So having to see the transition of having to deal with this, of Zeke coming in, of the undercoverness that he had to do, which was probably again, another thing I really enjoyed was season 2 when he had to go undercover because just to be able to play both sides was awesome.
Mhm.
That was probably my favorite. That and introduced my family was probably my favorite. But just he's had such an incredible arc, I think, through the span of 4 years, and I think more than anything, you've seen him just grow up. Like really grow up, because at the end of the day, no matter if he's been selfish at times or whatever, he's always done things from a place of love. I think he's always done things to protect the Stones. He's always had their back. He will always have their back. And he is, through and through, just a good guy who's just trying to figure it out. And I think you've seen that through the span of 4 years. Flawed or not, the guy will always put his friends and family first. And what they've given him, the obstacles he's had to come through, get over, with Michaela has been quite rewarding to kind of see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And how's it been in terms of, when you look back on it and he's had such a journey, and I feel like Jared in particular is one that's had a major kind of change over the seasons. For
Hmm.
you, when you look back on it, is there one moment where you went, "Ooh, like that's where I feel like he's starting to change," or something is different about him now, or I see him heading in a new direction?
I would say the beginning of season 4 for sure. Like, I mean, the all of season 4, I feel like there was so much that had happened, that I just, from the beginning of listening to the words of the way they were on the page, I was like, this guy is there. Whatever happened between 3 and 4, well, we saw the end of 3, but between that time, I think there was a lot of reflection, and it really kind of resonated and kind of who this person was now. There was a different light. There's a different light to Jared from season 4 on that we've seen before. So regardless of what it was, be it that he took a little vacation and did some meditating, I don't know what he really did, but like I would say the beginning of season 4 for sure. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I feel if it was JR's influence, it'd be vacation.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Vacation
A
led
lot of
your
golf. A
influence.
lot of golf. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So also with that arc and with all the stories and with everything kind of coming close to an end, it is really hard to finish a show like this where there's so many things going on. Like Lost, you brought up Game of Thrones. I mean, it's a very difficult show
Yeah.
to kind of like land. Were you nervous when you read I was gonna say the pilot. Were you nervous when you read the finale?
Oh, 100%. I had a hard time even opening the pages. Yeah.
And
I
what were
felt
you nervous
just
about? What were you nervous about?
how it was going to end, how they were going to tie all these stories together, what the heck was going to happen between Jared and Michaela, was what was happening between this whole crazy dynamic with Dre and Jared and the baby. And like, I mean, there was so much stuff going on that like, yeah, the last 4 for me were like, it was intense. It was, and still bittersweet because, I'm sure you've heard it from everybody, but it's true. It's like this journey for us, it was really tough that last week of shooting. It was just yeah, we were exhausted, obviously, as you would be doing 20 episodes in 1 year, but like we just built a family. I mean, I could bring my darn dog to set every day. It was just like, it was so relaxed, and like everybody was just, poured their heart into this project in every other way. Like it was really hard to say goodbye to everybody, you know big time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, as for reading it, it was I think I posted something. I was like trying to hold back tears, but it was, yeah, we remember like hearing Parveen. Her room was next to mine. I remember hearing Parveen like scream, and like it was just like as everybody was reading, it was hard to kind of get through, because when something this special comes to an end, it's like so bittersweet. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And why do you think, overall, why do you think that Jared decided to help the Stones? Because initially you could say, well, it was because he loved Michaela and maybe that's how he got into it and then couldn't leave. But I feel like, even when they weren't together, he was
Yeah.
the first call for everybody.
Yeah. I
So
mean, here's the
why
thing,
did
like
he stay and help them?
I think from the beginning of the show, there has never been another option. Like, you've never seen Jared like shun these people out. This is his family. Like, until they introduced his family, this was his family, through and through. Um, there was an underlining acceptance there of just, yeah, this is his people. Like, he'd do anything for these people, and there was never, I never, even me looking at it, I never looked at the other side of it. I mean, yeah, I questioned a lot of things. I would question, like, what is he doing? You know what I mean? But on paper, breathing life into these words and having to take it for what it is, there was never a question of his loyalty to these people. Like, the Stones were his family, have always been. Michaela will always be the true love of his life. And then within that, you're given. Mr. Rake loves to give you a lot of little obstacles you have to try to hurdle through, and you have to kind of figure that out as it goes. But yeah, there was never a doubt in my mind. I never saw the other side of it, like. So I'm like I said, I hope that in the future he finds some new friends just to be able to balance. I mean, that's his family through and through. So,
well, I find it so interesting. And what I was worried, because I'm like, how are they really gonna like nail this finale, right? Because
right,
it's so
right.
much to put together. So this is how I took it. So we get to the finale portion, and I'll say, like, Jared and Michaela are kind of together, but not really. They're in like a weird place. They had been together for a couple of months,
Yeah.
but they're kind of up in the air. You
Is this
guys,
in the woods?
yes. So I was gonna say
Yeah.
you guys were gonna go camping, which everybody
That
talked
was
about the
that
camping.
was so hard. That was so hard.
Everybody said this, that it was like very difficult for all of you guys to be together for the camping stuff.
Well, specifically my stuff, I remember looking at Jeff and be like, really? Like, they're going to hate me. I go from one tent to the next. Like, really? It's like,
But she gives you the okay though.
I
She's
know, but
seeing
even us doing
you.
it, we're like, oh my goodness, like it's tough. Like, the stuff that I've had to do, like as an actor, I've been like, they're gonna hate me. Like I really just jump from one to the next. I mean, I get it. Like it's justified, obviously, from the words and the emotions of everything Mick and Jared have been through. To the fact that she can't give him the one thing he really wants, which is a family.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a beautiful thing about it. But doing it was not easy.
Well, I mean, also not to bring up, like, I don't want to get into like your personal relationship, but it must be hard for like Melissa to be like, yeah, go to another girl's
No,
tent.
not at all. Not at all. Like, not one bit. Like, not one bit. It was just more. It was hard for me because of course, we do all that shit in the same day. So like, I had like this
It's
massive breakdown
emotional.
with her. I had this massive breakdown with her, and then like literally they had set up two different like tents in the same kind of set in the same room, and then I literally walk over to Ellen. I'm like, and I'm just like what the heck is happening?
I thought it was so beautiful because she's pregnant. So obviously Dre gets pregnant. We see her, we see how excited Jared is. He's taking care of her, but he wants to maintain a relationship with Michaela. But there's something that Michaela sees in the happiness between the two of them, between, Jared and between Drea, that she feels like they'll be in a perpetual circle. And this kind of leads me to the finale, because I do think that anytime Michaela is in pain, she runs to Jared. And that's not necessarily the way to be together. And so
Right.
she's starting to realize this as like the death days coming, as they're, they don't know what's going to happen. And so when you guys are in that tent and have that conversation, and she's like, listen, I love you. I will always love you. You say the same thing. And she's like, but you're going to be a father. You're going to have a family. You're better off going there. Like, that's where you're supposed to be. And then like you get up and leave. And go into the other tent. I spoke to Ellen briefly, like we were like messaging, and I think she'll be fine with me saying this. She was like, I'm terrified.
Yeah.
Like,
Of
she's in the
course.
same thing as you. She's like, I'm terrified that they're gonna like hate. And I was like, no, but I don't think so, because of how it ended, and because of the reasoning behind it. But I do think, if Michaela's gonna be with Jared, she should be with Jared because she loves Jared, and like in love with Jared, not because she loves Jared. And I think also because she can offer him the things that he wants, right, in every relationship, and he shouldn't have to sacrifice, and she shouldn't have to sacrifice. And she sees that in that moment, and kind of
I
sends
think that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. I mean, yeah, we had a hard time because in 19, like Ellen and I had a really hard time. Melted. We had a hard time being like, what, like there, what is going on, you know? And then we read 20, and we're like, okay, all right, this justifies everything. Because yeah, it's that. It's that you nailed it on the dot. It's like she can't give him, you know, no matter how much love it is. Like I feel like there's like this bittersweet kind of like Romeo and Juliet thing where like she does come to him in need. She comes with him in pain, like when she really, you know, and it's like you need more than that, you know. And she also can't give him the one thing he wants, which is, you know, she doesn't want kids, you know. She never wanted a family like that. So that's at the end of the day, um it beyond important to Jared, and that's definitely something he wanted. And I just think, yeah, they did a really nice job tying it all together at the end. So hopefully America and the world will agree. Or they won't. I'll get a bunch more hate mail, which is all good, you know. Bring it on.
No, but if it makes you feel any better, you also have Sanvi and Ben, and fans are gonna freak out about that too, because good old Jeff gave you like a nice hookup. And then they're like, just kidding, we're gonna be friends. So I feel so bad because, like, I don't know if you look on Twitter, but like all these people on Twitter are like, oh, they're my team. And I'm going,
Ben
oh
B,
God, oh
Ben
God, oh
B.
God, yes. And I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, but I'm like, they'll understand because they don't even know that Athena's back, you know, like that she'll appear. So I'm going,
I know.
It's gonna be okay, guys. But so I was like super nervous. So let's get to the finale, obviously. So I'm freaking out and I'm going, where is this going? Because all my couples are like, excuse me, all my couples are like all over the place. Nobody's with where I thought. We have an airplane that comes out of the ground. Everybody gets on the airplane. There's a moment of forgiveness from Ben. And somebody, like, there were some good people on Twitter that caught that photo in the book might not have been Olive. So, like, you know, there's people like catching on to
they caught Ellen with on the campfire. They caught her pregnant, and she had her back turned.
I know, and like, and Ellen told me, she was like, every time we took a photo, I had to make sure it was like from like I, and I was like, oh really? And she's like, yeah, because I was wearing the belly all day, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think
I took one. I put one up of us, and I literally like face tuned her whole stomach away. And she was like, she called me right. She's like, dude, that is amazing. I was like, dude, you look perfect. I had to push her whole stomach away.
That's so funny. She was telling me, she was like, yeah, we had to hide everything, but yeah, like fans they're good. So, you know, I went into it now before all of this, right? Because I hadn't seen a trailer, I hadn't seen anything, so I know nothing. I keep tweeting to everybody, watch nothing, because when I went into it, I knew nothing. So I'm going on and I'm going, where are we going? Wait, this couple was together, but now they're not. What's happening? So this plane comes out, this group goes in, and it was almost like your job was done. You have, you know, Vance's job is done. We send him home, go be with your family. We don't know what's going to happen. And he goes to Florida, and that was like emotional. And you just have so many things. And then you have Ben, who forgives and makes sure that everybody gets on that plane. And then the plane takes off. We have no idea where it's going. And then it's in the air. It's stopped in the air. They open a door, it's white. And so at this point, I'm going, all right, I feel like if we're like in a heaven or in like a weird, like stagnant place, this is going to be like, oh, all right. Like I figured that. Until you guys killed me when we see them walk through. And I love Michaela where she goes, I think we're supposed to like walk through. And so they all start slowly walking out. And then it just transposes into the airport. And I asked Ellen this already. I said, did you guys film that in like season 1? Because like you got all look so good, like exactly the same. She's like, no, we filmed that like at the end.
At the end.
I literally, I'm not gonna lie, I start crying when I see all of you start walking through the airport, like nothing had happened. And
Cal,
so like, oh my God, I know what was
Cal's what got me.
Yeah, like, so I'm already crying. And what was so beautiful at that moment is, I think I paused it. I think it's Josh, Ben, that says something at the campfire where he says something like, you know, if, you guys are all kind of talking that you chose to do good things. You chose to be good people. You chose to help people. Nobody told you. Nobody made you have to. You didn't have to listen to the callings. You, like, you know, your character didn't have to help them, but you all chose to do that. Chose to be good people. And he makes a comment, something where like we need more of that in the world. And when we see that plane, I didn't care where you guys were for like where everybody was for 5 years. I didn't care where they were in that white light. I didn't care what happened to them. All that mattered to me was that this, whatever this was, this test or whatever, turned all of these people into better people, into
Right.
heightened, more aware people. And it was
Right.
all about humanity and what
Yep.
all these people were willing to do to be a family that didn't know each other, the
Yeah.
connection between everyone to make this into like the ultimate, like most beautiful thing. I mean, we could kind of ignore that the bad people got blown up.
I
The
mean,
ones
but
that
there's a
didn't
beauty in
change.
that too, no? You know,
Well, yeah, I mean, they got kind of, I mean, like it sounds bad, but they kind of got what, was coming
yeah,
to them
what they
because
had coming. Yeah.
they weren't willing to make the sacrifices and do the change. So for all these great, amazing people, we see them walk out of the airport and they all remember it, and they all have this memory of we were all a family, we all did this amazing thing. But
Yeah.
Cal, which was such a beautiful thing, is a kid,
Yeah.
and you see him running around and we're like back in time. So it's basically like, I know everyone's seen it at this point, but it's basically like, yes, you guys got on a plane and just landed. Like nothing
Right.
had changed.
Nothing ever.
And Cal's running around as a little kid with no, and he's one of the few that doesn't remember anything.
Yeah.
And that was to give him back his childhood and for his sacrifice for everything that he did. So then I'm like hysterically like ugly crying. Like really bad. And I'm so glad I was alone. So I'm like ugly crying. And Michaela walks over to you, right? Because you're
Yeah.
standing there and you're ready to propose, and you look like season one and all like slick back and all like put together. And she says, that there's somebody perfect for you, and there's somebody out there that wants all the things you want. And
Yeah.
and then I was even crying more because I was going, she's right. And he does.
Yeah.
And I feel like in that moment, and I could be wrong, but so I want to know what you think about it. But I feel like in that moment, he is listening to her and he goes, yeah, I was going to propose to you because there was a tragedy. Now
Yeah.
you're back, and I'm going, I don't know if I should propose now because of a tragedy. But she also then, while you guys are, in the midst of everything pre-airport, you guys get back together after a tragedy, right? After
Right.
a week's gone.
Yeah.
So when they have this conversation, I feel like he goes, "You're right." He thinks and what's so beautiful too is your character doesn't even question her.
No.
Like he doesn't go like, "What? That's so crazy. What do you mean?" The only thing he asks is, "How do you know?" And
Yeah.
she goes, "Just trust me. I know." And
Yeah.
then he's like, "Okay." And kind of like, puts like the ring back and everything. And I think he knew that it wasn't right, which is what made it so beautiful, that conversation, which is why I don't think people will hate you. But what were you thinking when you guys filmed that? I mean, it was so crazy. The outfits, the costumes, the hair. I
Yeah. They.
really thought, and I watched like a crit, like, like I'm watching. I couldn't catch anything that didn't look like the first episode. I mean,
That's
whoever, like
awesome. Good to
wardrobe,
hear.
everybody that did it, I was confused because I was like, have they known since day one and everyone's been lying to me for years? Because I was gonna be so, but nobody
Yeah.
knew. So
No, no, no. We did that at the end. Yeah. Sorry, I got a little emotional thinking about it because, like I said, I haven't seen it, and it's been a long time. And you took me back there. Um,
it's okay.
yeah.
Everybody
Just
cries. I had Daryl crying,
yeah.
so it's all right. I'm like
They.
Oprah on here.
They did, man. They did such a beautiful, our writers and Jeff and everything did such a beautiful job of tying it all together at the end. It's a very difficult thing to do. I remember we shot that at the end of, we were doing night shoots in the airport for like 4 straight days at the end, and it was so difficult. And then we had to do all this hair and makeup to be able to kind of look that way. So we were exhausted. And that scene, of course, was at the end of the night, last scene of the night. It was like 4:30 in the morning. We were exhausted. I was like, we're gonna look like crap. But I just remember kind of like letting go, and just really trying to just give Mel everything I can give, and just like I think I haven't seen it, but I remember Jeff coming up and be like, "You guys literally have spoken through your eyes. Less was more there, and you said everything you needed to say through your eyes." So I was just like, "All right, for my boss, that's kind of what I want to hear." We'll see how it gets edited and how they chop it up and everything, because you never know. But yeah, I just hope they did that part justice, because that was a really beautiful moment. I do think that Jared, right away, within his heart, he knew that this was, there was something else going to happen here. That he was there was no fight about it. You know, no matter how much pain there was this, you know, he knew that there was something, that there was going to be something better. He also, I think, looking at her, if I can remember, there was a sense of, you're different. Um, you've gone through something. I don't know what it is, but this is a different person that's looking. These are different eyes. This is a different soul. This is a different person that's looking at me right now. So I think that there was a beautiful thing about that moment with like you said, there was no fight back. But yeah, yeah, I really wanted. I can actually really, when not thinking about it, I really want to see how they did that scene, because I hope it came out good. Because yeah, that was a, we were so tired and we were just trying to do it justice. But there, that was a really, really, really special moment. I think it's gonna tie it all together.
Yeah,
So
it was beautiful. And I do agree. I do think there's a lot said through the eyes. And you're right. He doesn't, fight back. And I think someone that's really in love, and like really wants it to work would have. And there's just something in it. I don't know. You see it in your
I think
face.
it's a testament to them. I think it's a
Yeah,
testament too
yeah,
to the
you just see
relationship.
it.
You know, it's a testament to who these two people are and how much they've gone through and what the actual true love that they've had for each other. You know, like some people, I mean, it happens. Some people can love the shit out of each other, but at the end of the day, they're just better off as friends, or they're just not. At the end of the day, they came into each other's lives for a purpose, you know. And I think it kind of shows that they have gone through everything they've gone through to grow and learn from each other, and it's taught them so much of who they want to be and what they want. But it's not, you know, it doesn't end up being each other. And there's a beauty to that. So yeah, I hope that comes off, because I think that will help take the dislike a little bit off of the Tequila fans.
No,
So
you, I promise. It was so good. It was so beautiful. The Kale, Kale not remembering was so beautiful. And then what I love too, obviously, I mean, you guys were trying to kill me. More crying was happening when we see Athena, so who plays Grace, and she's like, "What? What's the matter?" And like, she has
yeah,
no clue, like, why everyone's, Ben runs to her and he's like kissing her, and
yeah,
and then she's
yeah,
like, "Are we okay?" And he's like, "Of course we're okay." Like, because of where they left off and with the plane and everything, and it was just so beautiful to see kind of everyone. But my favorite, see, there's two of them, and one is with you, and one's with Melissa, which is, once everyone's kind of like adjusting and going, wait, where are we? Okay, we landed how we should have. There was a nice joke in there that someone threw in about, like, it's not to get like political, but they were showing like the presidential stuff, like, on, who was the president at the time, and there's like news playing, and what I
yeah.
think one of the actors goes, "Oh, thank God," because you guys are like back in time. So I just started laughing. It was so funny. But as I'm ugly crying, Melissa's character, so you obviously have Mick, goes, "Oh my God," and I'm going, "What?" Because I'm like so overwhelmed, right? There's like so
Yeah,
much sensory overload, so I'm going, "What is she doing?" And she takes off running. She hits into one of the members of the flight, and then she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry," and she picks it up. She goes, "Here's your wife," because like you guys all know each other. So I started
yeah,
laughing, and then she runs out, and then the second I saw the cabs, I went, "Oh no." Oh no. And I was like this. And then I'm like, no, 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 no. And then
yeah,
she's like running through and running through. And then she finds Zeke in the cab, who has no idea who she is,
yeah,
and she opens it up. She sits in just like a Mick fashion. Like, it's so perfect of her. She sits in. She's like, "Hey, is it okay if I sit here? Okay, cool. Do you guys have like salty? Do you have snacks?" And she starts going through everything she's eating, and he's like, "Who the hell are you?" And he's like looking at her. But again, it's this beautiful sense of like, I feel like, and he even says,
I
"I
know
feel
you.
like I know you. Like, I feel like I met you." And she's
Yeah,
like, "Yeah, why don't we just drive? Like, why don't we
yeah,
like talk and like."
yeah,
So that moment, which leads right into a part of it leads into my favorite moment of you, which is you show up. Well, you're leaving the airport, and
right,
again, you're one that doesn't really remember as far as we know, and
yeah,
you bump into a rookie,
yeah,
and the two of you are quippy and like fast with each other and like look at each other, and then I went, "Oh, this is how they meet, and like this is how they're going to start working together." And it's Drea, and then she
yeah,
goes, "Yeah, we're investigating, 11 people went missing on a flight, like, do you want in?" And you were like, "Of course I want in." And you
right.
guys walk in together, and I was like, and then they show even Vance showing up, and
Mhm.
Vance, and what was so interesting is all of you did this. Vance shows up and he's like, "Oh, we got to look into the 11 people missing. How does that happen on a plane? It doesn't make sense." And he walks in, but all three of you are different. So like Drea's different, you're different, and he's different, even though the three of you don't remember everything that happened. So you all react differently. Like even like your character, I don't feel like he would like smile and be like, yeah, like let's go in and like
right.
But you're all different. So how did you balance that to show it's so small, but it's so prevalent in those scenes that you guys are the same but different.
That's cool to hear. Yeah, because I mean, I think we wanted to do that justice. We wanted to give the audience a fact of like, even though we weren't on the plane and we didn't go through all that, everyone this has impacted and affected everybody, you know, and to be able to, the way that they tied it all in at the end, there had to be those little nuances to be able to like, exactly what you said is exactly what we were hoping that the audience would pick up on, you know, so you could see that, you know, that there's this story that has unfolded for so long that this is how it began, you know, so it couldn't be the same old tough kind of edgy Jared that you kind of saw for the first couple of years, you know. So yeah, that's great. That's really cool to hear. Now I'm excited. I can't wait to watch.
It's so good. It's so good. I promise you. And what does it feel like to know, you know, and I think people might be expecting like hardcore answers, right? To me, that's what I wanted, right? I was going with Lost. I got nothing. I didn't know where they were. For this show, the way it was written, I don't even care. Like, and it was because of the way it was written, because it was all about humanity, all about people connecting, all about saving people. It just kind of overtook. I don't care where they were for 5 years. I don't care what happened to the plane. It was more of like a lesson for me to reflect on my life and go, am I helping people? Am I doing what I should be doing? Am I going out of my way? So for you, when you read that final script, you guys do the whole show. Were you like, okay, I'm good with not knowing? Yes, they were in this specific moment. 100%. They were in this place because of how they showed it.
Less is more. Especially, I think that's the beauty of the show, and that's the beauty of what they've done with Manifest, especially the way they tied it all together, is that it leaves it up to you, you know, and not in a blank canvas kind of way where it just goes black, you know. No, they give you enough for you to have your own interpretation on it, and it does kind of pull the chords. It sings to so many. I think that's what I was saying before, like this show has literally resonated worldwide. Like I've been blessed enough to do a little bit of traveling, and it doesn't matter where I go, it's resonated. It's resonated because of that, because it leaves it just doesn't matter what character you connect with, you're connecting with somebody. And it's just like in the whole overlying story, like especially the way it ends, it's really cool to hear, because I think that was one of Jeff's like main things to make sure that was put across the screen, was that this whole journey of what these people have gone through, you know, it's a mirror to what, you know, to what we go through as humans. And there's such a connection to it. Allows you to make up, you know, the choices. It allows you to kind of connect with it, and allows you to fill in the blanks in a way that is very rewarding at the end. So that's not easy to do, you know. It could have easily spewed out a lot of information, kind of like, you know, giving it all to you. It gives you enough for you to be able to kind of fill in the blanks. I think that is a pretty magical way to end this crazy ride that is Manifest. So yeah.
I know, I'm so sad it's over. I want to make sure I get a few questions really quickly before you have to go.
Yeah, let's do it.
But let me just tell you really quickly though, you did such a good job on this show. And I mean, like I said, I was hysterically crying. I was glad I was by myself because I looked like a mess, because I had like makeup and I was like running. But you did such a good job. The amount of work that you guys put into the show is unbelievable. And in the last 20 episodes, specifically the last 10, could not have been done any perfect. Like literally it ended and I went, that was perfect. Like there was like just nothing for me to say that was, you know, it hit everything that I needed to know, and things that were like things that I thought were important weren't important anymore. Like I said, like knowing where they were and stuff, like I didn't even care. Like it wasn't important anymore. What was important were these people. And I just went, I hope they all like stay in touch with each other, everyone from the plane, and they're all like a family, and everyone's gonna kind of end up where they should have ended up. And that's what it showed you, and that's what it gifted you by doing all these great, amazing things. So I just loved it. You were so
awesome. Thank you so much. It's really sweet of you. Thank you. It means a lot.
All right, so I'm gonna throw in a couple questions really fast.
Let's do it. Yeah, I got 4 minutes here.
Yeah. Okay, so Someone said, okay, so Mandy, it's at Lexi Drew, said, what's your favorite memory on
Hey,
set?
she's my favorite, by the way, Mandy. I love
Oh,
you. Mandy has been one of the most amazing support groups fans I've ever encountered in this crazy 20-year career. So, Mandy, I love you. Thank you so much for always having my back. What did she ask?
she wanted to know what's your favorite memory on set?
Wow. Favorite memory. I mean, I'm just gonna be cheesy with it all. It's because it's true. It's just being able to just the whole thing, just being able to work with these incredible people. Um, all of them, from Josh, who became my brother, to Matt Long, who was my adversary in so many ways as a character, but at the same time, we just really had such great, incredible talks. To my partner in crime, who I connected with, we've had quite the incredible journey. Miss Lovely Michaela Stone, to Parveen, that I didn't really get to work with a lot, but just everybody. Just Daryl was such an. I grew so much just looking into his eyes. He's such an incredible actor. It speaks so much to his eyes. I mean, just everybody. It was such an incredible journey. It was so collaborative. Um, yeah, it was something truly, truly special to just be able to work with this incredible group of people. I'm gonna get a little teary here because it's been a while since I've seen them, and they were really just it was one of the most magical, special jobs of my career. And I know it doesn't happen all the time, but these people were, and Jeff Rake, fucking Jeff Rake. There's my F bomb. He was just any issue you had, you call this man, and he would drop anything he had to answer your call and to be there for you and to collaborate with you. And it was just special, man. This was a special, special job.
And look what, like, and not to get like too meta, but how beautiful for the show to end in a way that it ended, where like you found somebody too, like it's all like
Yeah.
to be, like
Yeah. Yeah.
I
The
don't know,
whole
it's just
thing.
like
The whole
the
thing.
whole thing is
The
just
whole
like so
thing.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so let's see. I'm scrolling through. Shanice at Shan3223 said, "Are you and Jared similar in any way at all?"
Ah, I love this question. Yes, we are. We definitely are. I mean, we're very different in so many ways. I would have taken a break after woman number one, and then woman number two, I would have taken a longer break. And yeah, he really needs a. It's funny. He needs some time on his own. I always like to say, but yeah, similarities. I find myself to be extremely. I got to thank mom and daddy for that. I'm the only child, Cuban family. We're very Hispanics are very family oriented, but loyalty is something I hold very dear to my heart. I'm a very loyal person, and no matter how much turmoil Jared may have had with women or whatever, I think the sense of loyalty that he had. I tend to play a lot of loyal characters, which is why the next one I told my team, I was like, I want to play a fucking mass murderer. I want to play like a dirty rapist. I want to play. I need something different. Anyways, that's my own creative messed up head
You have
of
such a cute face. That's why you have such a cute
yeah, no, but the loyalty aspect is something I've tried to bring to this human being, because I do think that that's the through line of who I am, and that's the through line of who this Jared Vasquez character is. He's loyal through and through. He's shown it season in, season out.
I'm gonna throw like two more at you really fast. So Christina Alexandra at Christy_PR said, and sorry to make you cry, but if it makes you feel better, Daryl cried. I make everybody cry. Ellen was
I love it. I love
crying,
it. No,
so
no, we're good.
I
We're
should have
good.
told you grab some tissues.
It's all good. Just rub it in.
Christina Alexandra at Christy_PR said, if you had the opportunity, I think I know your answer to this, but if you had the opportunity, would you change something from the final episode, or did you like it as it was?
Exactly as it is. Yeah,
Feeling.
I'm gonna change anything.
Fun question at Josh Dallas Army wants to know, JR, when are you going to play golf with Josh?
Mr. Dallas, let's freaking go, buddy. Let's go any day. He's so scared because he thinks I'm so good, which I'm really not. I'm a decent player, but he's just like, no, man, I can't get out there with you. I'm like, I haven't gone to LA in a while, but I already told him the next time I get out there, I'm going. Jenny already told me, you're allowed to come. I'll give you the keys. I'm going to go in there and caveman style. I'm dragging his ass by that beautiful wave of hair he has. He's going on the golf course with me. Like, we are finally doing this.
I love how
So
G's like your help there. She's yeah,
G's my
I'll get him
girl,
out.
man. That's my girl.
And I'll ask him too because he's after you like for interviews tomorrow, I think. So I'll make that happen. I'll be like, listen, you gotta golf
Let's
with
do
him.
it.
So last question, Brandy Bug says, and I know this is horrible to ask you in the last few seconds, but
That's
how
all
much
good.
impact will manifest leave on your life?
I think I answered that one already. It's the most special journey I have had as an artist in this crazy career of ours, and I will never forget these people. I will never forget what it feels like to be in a collaborative space where your voice means something as an artist. You know, where it should always normally, but like it's just I've grown so much in this job, and it showed me what it is to have a boss that cares, you know, what it is to be around people that leave their egos at the door. It will resonate with me through my entire career. So I'm forever grateful for it.
Well, I want to thank you so much for talking to me because I love you. I think
Thank you
you're
so
one of
much.
the best actors. I mean, throughout the 4 years, you're amazing. You put me on an emotional roller coaster. And in that last episode, I was like super emotional, but I just think you did such a great job of showing him in the beginning and showing the arc of an officer, showing the love of someone in a family, and being able to show all of that, some of it vocally, some of it just the way you stood, your face, the close up, the emotionalness, and to bring it into an end where it's just so beautiful and so much about like just the human spirit and like just humanity. I mean, it's just the one of the most beautiful endings I've ever seen of a show. And I just want to congratulate you and thank you for all the hard work that you put in, all the hours, all the late nights, all the cold days. I've heard all stories of craziness, all of that to make this
Thank you
happen
so much.
for fans.
Thank you so much, Monica. It means the world. Thank you so much, truly. Hopefully, we'll see you in Texas.
Yes, I know. I'm crossing my fingers. Hopefully, I'll get there. But
Sorry,
thank
I
you
could
so
talk to you
much.
forever. I gotta have to get on before my manager's like yelling at me right now. So I gotta get.
No, that's
Thank you so
okay.
much.
So you go. Thank you so much for
Thank you for the
everything.
sweet words. Thank you for taking the time, and hopefully we'll get to talk very soon.
Yes, I hope so. All right, have a great
Take
rest of
care.
the day and thank you. Congratulations
God
on
bless. Thank
everything.
you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to JR Ramirez talk about what it was like filming the show, how he feels about the finale, and giving us some behind the scenes details. It was so much fun talking with him. He's one of the sweetest men known to man. And of course, yes, we got emotional on it, but we can't help it. We love the show. We love these characters, and this cast and crew are just fantastic. So I want to thank JR for coming onto the show, and please make sure you check out Manifest. All of the episodes are available streaming now on Netflix, so head over and go check it out. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you're updated on all of our latest podcasts, and head over to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe so you're updated on all of our video content. And don't forget, subscribers find out when videos go up first. So make sure you subscribe if you want to get a head start on seeing some of that video content.